All right, welcome back to WMAC Now with your host Chuck Stevenson coming at you tonight with a special event preview. So we're going to Singapore for one championship, one X. We've got three ladies mixed martial arts bouts coming at you and a women's submission grappling bout. Now, I've already done detailed previews for Ham versus Zamboanga 2 and Lee versus Stamp in separate videos. So after you've watched this and you haven't seen those yet, please go check them out. I'm not going to be going nearly as in-depth as I did on those, so you definitely are going to want to go check those out. So let's get started. First up, we have a Atomweight submission grappling bout between Mayyamaguchi and Danielle Kelly. I'm not going to go through the stats because honestly I don't even have any stats available for Danielle Kelly. This is going to be contested as, I believe, a single 10-minute round, and if there is no finish, then the bout is declared a draw. I saw someone mention in one of my comments that Danielle Kelly might have a size advantage. She definitely has a slight height advantage, but that's not going to really matter in the grappling department. But as far as size goes, honestly, I think May's a little bit bigger. Danielle Kelly's just a little waif of a girl. As far as their grappling goes, I'm going to go with Danielle Kelly to win this one. From what I've seen of her pro grappling bouts, and I've looked up her record, she does really well against MMA fighters. Against, like full-time grapplers, she's almost 50-50. But she definitely specializes in beating MMA fighters in pure submission grappling bouts. That's what she's made her name off of. And I'm going to take her to beat Mayyamaguchi here. Now, Mayyamaguchi did bring in some good training partners to train for this bout. I mean, training with like Kazushi Sakuraba is one of them, and several other really good grapplers. But the point is, she's an MMA fighter. Now, she's no slouch on the ground, but she's an MMA fighter. She's used to spreading her training out across several platforms. Whereas Danielle Kelly, all she does is jiu-jitsu and grappling. This is what she does full time. So I have no doubt that Danielle Kelly's going to win this. Now, she has to win by finish, if I remember correctly. Otherwise, it goes to a draw. But I see Danielle Kelly getting it done here. So next we move to a women's atomweight MMA bout. Itsuki Hirata taking on Jihin Radzuan. This is basically about to decide, like the long-term future of the division, because both of these fighters are fairly young, under 25. Both are still growing as mixed martial artists, still fairly early in their careers, but they're advancing rapidly. Both of them have, diehard fan bases. This should be for a good one. Let's go ahead and take a look at the stats. So Android 18 coming in undefeated at 5-0. The Shadow Cat coming in at 7-2. Now, Hirata hasn't fought since September at One in Power when she defeated Elise Anderson via decision. Rajwaan is coming off of a contentious decision win over Mayyamaguchi just 3 weeks ago. So she's actually taken this bout on a fairly short notice. Rajwaan is 1 year older, 23 to 22. For Hirata, they are the same height, 5 feet 2 inches, 157 centimeters. No reach listed for Shadow Cat. Android 18 is listed at 62.6 inches, 159 centimeters. So those are your stats. So I just got done with some film study on these two. Stand up, I give the edge to Radzuan. Now, I would say that Rajwaan is the overall more well-rounded fighter. Hirata is more of a specialist. So stand up, I give the edge to Radzuan. On the ground, I give a slight edge to Hirata. The big thing is going to be who can dictate not only the pace of this fight, but where they want this fight to go. If Radzuan gets taken down, she's going to want to get back to guard and then work to get back up and get back on top. I think she should try to keep this fight standing personally. Not that she's a slouch on the ground, because I already said she's no slouch on the ground. But I feel like Hirata has a slight edge. But Hirata also, she can be out grappled. Because, what's her name? Rika Ishige, attacked her with an arm bar, threatened her with one. And also, Ishige managed to actually sweep her at one point. And Ishige relies on pure technique. She's so small and weak. So it's not like Hirata's ground game is like phenomenal, undefeatable. But she is more of a specialist, and that makes her very threatening if she gets the fight into where she wants it to be. I would say Rajwaan would probably want to try to keep this one standing, or if she's got to go on the ground, try to get on top. Because we haven't seen much of what Hirata's like on bottom. She's usually the one on top controlling on bottom. And she likes to go for very fast submissions from her judo-style takedown. So if she gets a throw or a trip, she loves to go particularly to the scarf hold and work for submissions from there. I believe all of her fights, except for... So, yeah, all of her fights, but the Anderson fight, her only decision, really were ended up in a scarf hold. So if Radzuan can avoid the scarf hold or get out of it, I think she'll have an edge over Hirata. Because I have seen Hirata get frustrated in fights before when things aren't going exactly as planned. I also feel like the longer this fight goes, the more it could favor Radzuan. Personally, for me, this is a bit of a coin toss fight. I'm going to go with Hirata to win. But I think either way this fight goes is going to work out really well for the future of the division. I'm going to go Hirata to win, but I might change my mind all the way up to fight day, so who knows. But for now, we're going to go with Hirata to win. A slight edge on the ground. Then we move to another women's atomweight bout. All of these are going to be atomweight bouts at 115 pounds because they're one atomweight bouts. Sahi Ham taking on Denice Zamboanga in a rematch from One Empower back in September. Ham won via contentious split decision. Very controversial at the time. Personally, now I look back on it and go, it really shouldn't have been that controversial, but it is what it is. Anyway, let's go ahead and look at the stats on this one. So Ham coming in at 24-8. Zamboanga coming in at 8-1. Now, Ham has not tasted defeat since she left the UFC back in 2016. So she is on a 7-fight win streak since then, including wins over some of the best in the atomweight division. Zamboanga, of course, coming off the loss to Ham. Before that, she was undefeated at 8-0. Her best win coming off of against Mayyamaguchi almost 2 years ago. So, let's see. Ham is the elder fighter, 35-25 for Zamboanga. They are the same height, 5 feet 2 inches, 158 centimeters. No reach available for Zamboanga. Ham is listed at 62 inches, 157 centimeters. So like I mentioned earlier, I have done a full breakdown of this bout in its own separate video. I'm going with Ham to win this one. Zamboanga struggled against a Ham that when she faced her, Ham hadn't fought in almost 2 years, about 21 months of inactivity when she faced Ham. So now she's coming in off of a fresh Ham that has fought more recently. Also has the edge, the mental edge, in that she won the first fight and she believes that she won the first fight. Like, she knows she won the first fight. Whereas Zamboanga thinks she won, but also is still dealing with this thing that she did lose. It's all about, improvements before the bout. Ham usually makes small incremental improvements and doesn't really have to make as many improvements in order to beat Zamboanga again, whereas Zamboanga really has to do a lot of things different in this fight than she did in the first fight. Like, she's got to not try to wall install and just hip hug against the cage. Probably go for more takedowns out in the open. she's got to just be more overall like aggressive, and not like aggressive as in, oh, I'm pushing her against the cage. That's control. That's aggression. That's not really scoring. And she's got to make sure her takedowns work, because in one championship, takedown defense scores just as much as actual takedowns do. So I'm going for Ham to win this one. Not sure how. I mean, it could be not TKO. It's either going to be TKO or decision. I don't see Ham getting a decision or a submission. But I am going with Ham to win this one. Her experience, her high-level experience, her vast knowledge of the sport, everything is just miles ahead of where Denice thinks she is. So I'm going with Ham to win the rematch. Then we move on to the main event of the card, Atomweight Championship. The champ, Angela Lee, the division champ, Angela Lee, making her long awaited return, taking on the Atomweight Grand Prix champ, Stamp Fairtex. This fight almost seems like it was destined to happen. Stamp has made all of her MMA bouts within one championship. So is Angela Lee. Stamp was also, the two-sport champ before this, Muay Thai and kickboxing. It just seems like this fight was destined to eventually happen. And then COVID happened, and then Angela Lee got pregnant, which caused the Grand Prix to happen, and Stamp ended up making her way through the Grand Prix. So everything seemed to work out. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at the stats here. They're a bit reversed for this one. But Lee, the champ, coming in at 10-2. Stamp coming in at 8-1. Now, Lee is coming off of a submission win over Xiong Jinan, the strawweight champ, 2 years ago, or almost 2.5 years ago. That was an atomweight. Before that, she had 2 losses. Stamp, of course, coming in off of 3 straight wins through the Grand Prix over Aliona Rasahina, Julie Meza Barba, and then Ritu Fogat in the finals. The champ is 1 year elder, 25, to the Grand Prix champs, 24 years. And Angela has the height advantage, 5 feet 4 inches, 163 centimeters, to 5 feet 2 inches, 157 centimeters. So those are your stats on the championship fight. So I also did a full, complete breakdown on this one in its own video. Again, please feel free to go check that out after you're finished with this one. So I really racked my brain on this one and just watched a lot of stud film, went back through my old notes from their fights. This one to me is a toss-up. It's a true 50-50 matchup, which is probably Lee's first ever 50-50 fight, other than when she went up against maybe Xiong. And that's the biggest reason is due to Angela's extended absence. She hasn't fought in almost 2.5 years. So she's coming in rusty. Whereas Stamp, she's done almost all of her MMA bouts in that time. I mean, Lee's last MMA bout was in 2019. October of 2019. In that time, Stamp has had Stamp has had 7 MMA bouts since the last time Lee fought. And then some kickboxing and Muay Thai belts in there as well, too. So Stamp has been super active. Also, Stamp is coming in at the peak of her confidence. She just went through an MMA Grand Prix and got her first submission win over a ground-based fighter. So Stamp's coming in super confident, and Lee is coming in rusty. Now, Lee, she's never short on confidence, or bordering on arrogance, almost, some would say. I'll say it. But in the back of her head, you gotta wonder. She's kind of thinking, like, man, can I still do this? Because, training is one thing. but getting in there and facing an opponent who's looking to hurt you is something else entirely. I like watching. Lee has really good clinch entries, and she likes using the clinch to get to her takedown. But that's risky because that's clinch. That's Muay Thai. That's Stamp's bread and butter too. So it's dangerous for her to work the clinch. At range, it's all Stamp. I mean, Angela's striking has gotten better over the years, but it's not going to be on the level of Stamp's. One thing that Angela does have going for her is that while her striking defense is absolutely porous. I mentioned this and people kind of laugh at it or get mad. Either they laugh at it or they get mad at me. Angela Lee has a big head, and she takes punches to it like a queen. Very durable. So it's going to be really hard for Stamp to hurt her. She's going to have to want to go body and head. She's going to need to mix those two up. On the ground, if Stamp's good, actually pretty good in scrambles. So she's going to want to use those scrambles to get back up to her feet. She is not going to want to get involved in extended grappling exchanges with Angela. Whereas with Angela, she's going to want to take this fight to the ground. That is her world. That's her realm. Stamp might be getting better at it, but Angela's been at that level for a long time now. So really this fight comes down to who can dictate their pace better. Who can dictate where the fight goes, who can dictate their pace. This is a 5-round bout. I feel that the longer it goes, it's actually going to favor Stamp better. Because we've seen Angela get tired in 5-round bouts before. We've also, again, going back to the long layoff. That's going to affect the cardio too. So again, for me, I don't have a pick for this one. It is a true 50-50. It's a toss-up bout. I just haven't been able to decide on a winner here. So there you have it, my X WMMA preview. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Who are you picking to win each fight? If you like the video, please give it a like, give it a thumbs up. Share it as well. That helps spread the word and helps the channel grow. And while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe to WMMA Scene Now, the best, most complete women's mixed martial arts dedicated platform on YouTube. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.